When I first began exploring my own sexual energy, I had no idea how transformative the journey would be. Connecting to my core, my primal, creative, and spiritual essence, was not just about sexuality, but about reclaiming my power, healing past wounds, and unlocking a deeper sense of aliveness. There is a power within every man that often lies dormant, forgotten, or misused. This power is a sexual energy, a divine, creative force rooted deep within the masculine core. It is more than just libido or desire. It is life force energy, the very fuel of vitality, clarity, focus, and purpose. When a man disconnects from this core energy, he becomes weak, confused, scattered. But when he consciously reclaims and connects to it, everything changes. He becomes a force of nature, decisive, grounded, magnetic. This is my journey. This is my story of connecting to my core, of discovering that my sexual energy was not something to suppress or squander, but to master, direct, and embody. In reclaiming this energy, I reclaim myself. For years, I lived in disconnection. I didn't even realize it. Like many men growing up in a hypersexualized culture, I was introduced to sexual energy through lust, fantasy, and compulsive habits. Poor and meaningless hookups and shallow dopamine chases were normalized. I didn't understand the spiritual significance of my seed. I didn't understand that my sexual energy wasn't just meant for release, but for creation, purpose, and self-mastery. Every time I chased a quick fix, every time I released without intention, I felt a little weaker, a little more hollow. At first, I thought it was normal, but over time, the symptoms stacked. Fatigue, brain fog, low confidence, anxiety, emotional numbness, lack of direction. I was surviving, not thriving. Something deep inside me was crying out. I didn't know it yet, but it was my core, my sexual essence, longing to be reawakened. My awakening began with a question. What if I stopped running from myself? One day, I came across a video on semen retention. It sounded strange at first, but something clicked. As I dove deeper, I discovered ancient texts, modern studies, and powerful testimonies all pointing to the same truth. The seed is sacred. The core is powerful. When you hold it, you hold your destiny. I realized I've been throwing away my power for years, leaking it through unconscious behavior, empty habits, and avoidance. For the first time in my life, I decided to retain, not just physically, but spiritually. I decided to honor my sexual energy and let it build within me. That decision was a spark that ignited the fire of transformation, the resistance, facing the inner war. The moment I chose to connect to my core, I met resistance. Old patterns screamed. Lust haunted my thoughts. My body craved release. My ego tried to rationalize slipping back into comfort. The battle was intense. I felt like two versions of me were at war, the old self that wanted escape and the new self that desired greatness. This stage taught me a vital lesson. Sexual transmutation is not easy. It is warfare. It is alchemy. I began channeling the urge. When the pressure built, I didn't run. I sat with it. I breathed into it. I exercised. I meditated. I created. I realized that sexual desire is raw energy, neither good nor bad. It's how you use it that defines your path. Day by day, I chose to rise above the animal and embrace the king within. The power, energy like fire. Around the 30-day mark of retention, I began to feel different. I woke up energized. My eyes were clearer. My posture changed. My voice deepened. I felt a magnetic presence. People noticed. Women looked at me differently. Men respected me more. But beyond the external changes, something deeper was happening. I was becoming whole. I wasn't chasing validation. I wasn't running from myself. I was rooted. This energy felt like fire in my belly. It gave me clarity in decision-making, discipline in routine, and drive in my mission. I began working harder, creating more, and speaking with conviction. My spiritual life deepened. I prayed with intensity. I listened to silence. I became intimate with my own soul. Sexual energy, once wasted, was now fueling my evolution. Connecting to your core isn't just about holding your seed. It's about mastering your direction. I realized that it wasn't enough to retain. I had to transmute. Sexual energy is creative energy. When it's not channeled, it stagnates. When it's ignored, it mutates into lust. But when it's focused, it becomes divine will. I started creating with intention. I wrote, built, spoke, and served. Every time I felt aroused, I asked myself, what can I create with this energy? What can I build with this fire? This shift changed everything. I stopped seeing sexual energy as something that needed an outlet. I began seeing it as God's creative power within me, a sacred force that, when mastered, made me unstoppable. As I connected deeper to my core, I noticed a radical change in how I viewed women. No longer did I see them through the eyes of lust. I saw them as reflections of the feminine essence, mystical, beautiful, powerful. My attraction was no longer based on superficiality. It was spiritual. I desired union, not conquest. I wanted to protect, not possess. This inner shift healed the wounds of my past. I saw how I had objectified, used, and chased love from a place of emptiness. But now, being rooted in my own energy, I didn't need to chase. I could attract from a place of wholeness. True masculinity doesn't dominate. It leads with presence and purpose. And presence is born from being fully connected to your core. The vision, purpose unleashed. One of the greatest gifts of connecting to my sexual energy was a return of vision. For years, I had lived without a strong sense of purpose. I floated, tried random goals, and quit when things got hard. But when I began retaining and transmuting, my purpose became crystal clear. I didn't just want to exist. I wanted to build a legacy. Sexual energy fuels vision because it awakens the third eye, the seat of intuition, foresight, and imagination. I began dreaming again. I saw the man I could become, and I pursued him with ferocity. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was building something eternal. With my words, my actions, and my energy. No journey is without tests. Even after months of growth, I faced moments of intense temptation. The old self tried to sneak in through loopholes, suggesting just one relapse, just one look, just one release. The devil never shows up in horns. He shows up as comfort, fantasy, and excuses. But this time I was rooted. I had seen what I was like disconnected. I had felt the power of being aligned. I refused to go back to sleep. I reminded myself, every time you release unconsciously, you trade your power for a moment of pleasure. And I wasn't willing to trade anymore. I had tasted the fire. I had met the king within. There was no turning back. The overflow becoming magnetic. When you connect to your core and hold your energy, you become magnetic. This isn't about trying to be attractive. It's about becoming so internally aligned that you naturally draw people, opportunities, and abundance into your field. I began to experience this firsthand. Strangers smiled at me. Women complimented me. Opportunities found me. But I didn't chase any of it. I just radiated presence. People can feel energy. When your sexual energy is locked in, your aura expands. Your eyes shine. Your words land. You don't need to say much. Your energy speaks for you. This is the power of a man connected to his core. He doesn't move the world with force. He moves it with frequency. The legacy, living from the core. Today, I live differently. Every morning, I wake up and reconnect to my core through breath, intention, and gratitude. I don't see sexual urges as distractions. I see them as invitations to go deeper into discipline, creation, and self-mastery. I honor my seed as sacred. I use my energy to build, lead, love, and serve. And I've realized the most important truth of all. When a man is connected to his core, he is connected to God. This journey has been about more than semen retention. It's been about reclaiming divine masculinity. It's about choosing legacy over lust, power over pleasure, purpose over passivity. I connected to my core, and in doing so, I remembered who I truly am. Your core waits. To every man reading this, your power lies within you, not in the gym, not in the car, not in the clothes or the followers. Inside you, your sexual energy is not a curse. It is your crown. Treat it as sacred. It will reward you with vision, vitality, and a legacy that echoes for generations. You were not born to waste your seed. You were born to create kingdoms with it. Reconnect to your core. Reclaim your throne. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and share the video with your friends. Join our Telegram channel on the link below.